Imagine two people in a room. One is red in the face, screaming, throwing their hands up. The other sits perfectly still, face completely blank. Look at that dynamic and ask yourself, who actually commands the attention in that room? Who seems more prepared for what happens next? We've all had those moments where we snap over a minor comment. The anger takes over, and an hour later, you're left with that nagging feeling of regret. When you react instantly, you're essentially handing someone else the controls. Quick emotional spikes make it very easy for others to predict and influence your behavior. By learning this 5-step art of not reacting framework, you can keep your composure in heated moments. You can ensure that your responses are always a conscious choice, rather than an emotional reflex. Step 1 is artificial silence. The moment a verbal attack begins, you make a conscious physical choice. Close your mouth and keep it closed. Then you have to neutralize the tension in your face. Focus on smoothing out your forehead, relaxing your eyebrows, and unclenching your jaw. Most people are deeply uncomfortable with silence. When you don't jump in to fill the gap, the other person often loses their momentum. They might start stuttering or second-guessing their own argument because they aren't getting the feedback they expected. The key is to keep the mask on. A nervous smile, a scowl, or a hard glare all give away your internal state. Your face needs to stay as neutral as possible. This leads to step 2, the tactical delay. Before you say a single word or take any action, you enforce a mandatory waiting period. In a quick exchange, count to 5 internally. For larger conflicts, wait a day or more. This allows the adrenaline to fade so that you can think clearly again. When you master physical stillness and enforce a delay, you strip away the other person's ability to rush you. You are the one who determines when the conversation moves forward. Step 3 is switching to observer mode. You need to pull your focus away from the specific insults or words being used. Try to analyze why the person is acting out. Instead of seeing them as a threat, view them as someone who is struggling to manage their own emotions and is looking to you for a reaction to validate their anger. Step 4. Filtering your attention. Your mental energy is limited. Don't spend it on every argument. Ask yourself, does this matter to my long-term life? If no, the interaction deserves 0 emotional investment. Make the active choice to withdraw. In these moments, you want to be as responsive as a stone. If you let it show that a specific comment hurt you, you're providing a guide on how to bother you again in the future. By becoming a clinical observer and filtering your responses, you stop providing the fuel the other person needs to keep the conflict going. Step 5 is building a mysterious shield. Sometimes the most effective response is simply walking away from the interaction without needing to have the final word. On a broader level, this is about keeping your private details, goals, and insecurities to yourself. When you don't broadcast your every thought or vulnerability, you become much harder to predict. You create a sense of internal stability that isn't easily shaken by outside comments. Over time, people who look for easy targets to provoke may stop trying with you. If they can't figure out which buttons to push, they'll likely move on to someone more reactive. Long-term resilience isn't about winning an argument loudly. It's about being difficult to decode, which makes it much harder for anyone to disrupt your focus. You now have a practical set of tools to help you stay composed in high-pressure social situations. Remember the sequence. Use silence, observe the other person's intent, and decide if the situation even deserves your attention. Many effective leaders and high-level negotiators use these same principles to keep their cool when the stakes are at their highest. If you've watched this far, you clearly have the focus required to apply these steps. Let us know your name in the comments so we can recognize your commitment to self-improvement. Subscribe for more techniques on building mental resilience. Thanks for watching.